Stranger Things finale talk. It is time to talk about the Stranger Things finale. We have like a day left, and I've never done a live stream before, so I figured it might be kind of a fun idea to come on here and just answer some questions and talk a bit about what we're expecting from the Stranger Things finale, because right now where I'm sitting, I feel underwhelmed from what we saw in Volume 2, and especially after the high that was Volume 1. It's just been a very interesting thing for me to break down, almost emotionally. You know what I mean? Because it's one of those things where I'm a super fan, right? So like, as a super fan of this show, I mean, my wife and I, we watch it every single year. And so, what's up, man? How you doing? So we watch this show every single year, and it's her favorite show. And so, as a massive fan of this show, I've talked a bit about this on the channel before, but hey, also, if somebody's in the chat, can you hear me? This is my first live stream ever, but can you hear me through this little thing? Because I just want to make sure. I have the camera and mic set up, but that all just felt way too complicated for Stranger Things talk. So please let me know if you can hear me, because I might just, okay, sick, okay. Anyway, I'm talking about Stranger Things right now. So basically, we rewatch it every single year. It's our favorite thing on Earth, really, aside from Avatar: The Last Airbender for me. But when it comes to this new season, I don't know. I was so hyped up for Volume 1. I don't know if you guys felt the exact same way or not. It went pretty well. Oh, is it lagging a little bit? It could be. Let me know. I mean, if it's lagging too much, I can totally shut it down. This is my first live stream, so I have no idea. Please, other people, let me know if it's lagging a ton, because I should have pretty good Wi-Fi, but I guess we'll see. Anyway, I don't know. Just with how Volume 1 went and how like over the moon I was about it. I don't know if anybody saw my reaction for it, but I was crying, and that was a tough video for me to even share, because like it's almost humiliating to share yourself crying like that. You're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? But I just expected so much from Volume 2, and I don't know if I'm overreacting when it comes to, yeah, exactly. I might be missing Volume 2 details. I've thought about the show so much over the past few days that even the problems that I had with it initially, it is one of those things where the more you think about it, the more those problems grow in your head, right? And so the things that I wasn't even mad at, I'm starting to nitpick at, because it's not, I don't want to say it's not exactly how I wanted it to be, because that's not a good way to like approach criticism. But as a super fan of the show, it's really hard to not let your emotions get the best of you. And so I think right now with Stranger Things, with the Stranger Things fandom, I'm having a tough time navigating how to react and how to talk with different people about it, because the reality, heck yeah. And I love that other people are huge fans of this as well. And that's kind of why I wanted to come on here, just to see if anybody's feeling the same way. Because the reality of the internet right now is that people out there, if you have a problem with, Volume 2, especially as it pertains to everything that happened with Will, you're immediately met with so much like animosity and people like taking your opinion the wrong way. Like for me, the entire Will sequence at the end of Volume 2, I wasn't mad about the scene itself. I'm purely mad about the placement in the volume itself, and like how that was one of the last things we saw as we're heading into this finale that I've been waiting for so long for. And so it's hard to talk about this volume without being grouped into certain categories. You know what I mean? And now with all the negativity that's happening online, again, that's why it felt like a fun idea to come on here, because I'm finding myself nitpicking and getting mad at certain things, and I'm not sure how tomorrow's finale is going to go for me, really. Like, I don't know how you guys are feeling about, I mean, truly, anybody that's in here, and if you're commenting, yeah, freshly brewed truth. I completely agree with you. Like, I have overlooked so many different things over the years when it comes to this show and just been so into it. And I think that's a part of being a fan of something. But when there are jarring issues, there are jarring issues, right? Like when there are things that really stick out, they're just issues. And I have a lot of other creator friends in the space, and seeing people in the space, YouTubers, critics, things like that, come out with videos and say how they were underwhelmed as well, it makes me feel a little bit validated in my feelings about it. Obviously, I don't want to go along with just what other people are saying, you know what I mean? I want to form my own opinion, but like upon the rewatch and looking at it more, I think one of the biggest things I'm disappointed about right now is just Hopper. Like the lack of Hopper in this show. The character dynamics were what made the show. That's why it's easy to overlook. Yeah. At least Avatar The Last Airbender Season 2 is coming out soon, Jones. Yes, dude. I know. And I have a lot to say about that. There was a brand new article. If you guys aren't in my Discord, I have a Discord server that I started a couple months back. But I shared an article from Night Edge Media regarding The Legend of Aang, that movie. There's some good stuff in that article. I can share that link down in the comment section after this live stream, so keep an eye out. But let's see here. Exactly. Will's coming out scene wasn't bad, but out of place. It did not fit the pacing, nor did it make sense to the structure of Volume 2. They should have kept it after the end game. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I completely agree with you. Like, I just feel like the spot that it was, I don't know. I got all of those feelings. Again, if any of you guys watched my reaction for Volume 1, I got all of those feelings at the end of Volume 1. Like when Will, like, you know, joins with Vecna or whatever, joins the hive mind, breaks the limbs of the demos, as they now, like, abbreviate it. I thought that was so cool, and it did so much for the character, and the flashback of him and Mike. All that stuff was so emotional and cool to me. And then you have that moment at the end of Volume 2, and it just felt like, I know it was a very important scene, but it just felt like, I already felt these emotions, you know what I mean? I'm trying to feel right now, going into the finale, I'm trying to feel like some major things. I'm trying to feel Vecna is going to do something absolutely insane, or I'm trying to feel a hint at the freaking Mind Flayer, you know? I need something to really amp me up through the roof so that I can get hyped for this. I heard there's a new look rumor on the 7th. I don't know if you heard that too, Jones. Is that about Avatar? Yeah. I hope there's a new look coming out on the 7th. I haven't heard that. Too much tell, not enough show. The season is written like we're scrolling on our phones while listening. That's a true statement. That's a really true statement. There are a lot of people that talk about that, like talk about the fact that writers these days are writing for people on their phones. I think that's sad, and I don't know if I believe that. You know, I don't want to believe that if they're truly writing these shows thinking that people are just scrolling on their phones, but that's a really unfortunate reality if that's the truth. I don't think Yeah, 2 hours. 2 hours for the finale. I'm praying that tomorrow I turn on the Netflix app and I go to the episode and it just says like 3 hours and 45 minutes. And we're all like, yes, dude. Like the Duffer Brothers played all of us and we didn't know, you know. I think that'd be so cool. But anyway, can you believe that they already had this whole Abyss story in their heads during the first season? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I believe that or not. Like I've heard interviews with the Duffers that talk about how they've had a lot of stuff in their head and they made like a Bible, like the Stranger Things Bible after season 1 to turn into Netflix to be like, yo, we know what we're doing. We have a plan, blah, blah, blah. But with the Abyss, yeah, I mean, I didn't see that interview and that's crazy to think if they've had it in their head. I just wish we would have had some sort of like, I don't know, sneak peek or something like that. You know what I mean? Some sort of clue hidden in there, but maybe all things will be revealed in time, as Timothy Chalamet would say. Let me see here. I'm just kind of answering questions. Guys, again, this is my first live stream ever, so I'm just figuring this out as I go. Sorry about the how I'm just doing it like this. I don't have like the full camera set up and the microphone and stuff, but if you guys like this, I'll totally do more live streams because this is a lot of fun. Let me see here. Robin's coming out. See, it made sense in terms of, yeah. Yeah, Will's coming out. Should have happened in Volume 1 with only Joyce and Mike. Yeah, I agree with that. I do. I absolutely do. I think, like, Robin's coming out scene was just beautiful and fun and, like, so unpredictable because Steve, he works up this whole moment where he's finally like, you know what, I'm going to admit my feelings for Robin right now. And then he does it, and she's like, yeah, I don't I don't like guys. It's so good. And I love how like powerful of a moment that is for Robin. Man, that's another character though in season 5 so far that has just been I liked what they did with her and Will in volume 1. Now heading into volume 2, she just felt a little bit overused. I don't know if the set piece in the hospital could have been a little bit different, but like the whole Vicky and Robin thing, okay, here's my criticism with that, okay? Enzo's. Robin is saying to Vicky, we're going to go to Enzo's when all of this is said and done, and blah, blah, blah. There was an entire arc between Joyce and Hopper that took place between season 3 and season 4. And you have this super emotional moment with Hopper being like, those breadsticks, dude, those breadsticks, they better be out of this world, and all this stuff. And I'm crying. I'm sitting here watching Hopper and Joyce come together. It's a beautiful thing. And then we just have this weird moment with Robin and Vicky talking about Enzo's as well. I don't know. That's a nitpicky thing for me. But I'm like, can it be a different restaurant or something? Can it be Chili's or something like that? Because I like my Hopper Joyce stuff. I don't even know Vicky at this point. She's not a special character to me at all. Robin's a special character. And that is, that is a very nitpicky thing. But it just kind of like irked me. I'm looking at that. And I'm like, don't you dare talk about Enzo's. That's Joyce and Hopper. Anyway, I have to scroll back on some of these because I think I've missed some. Hi, Cody. Look at his crying scene compared to Sadie. Are you talking about Will? Maybe you are. Yeah, I mean, Sadie Sink is just a phenomenal actress, so. Yeah, and what is that? Chili anyways, so 587. 7, you said also the coming out should have been reserved for Will's family and close friends. Only Murray, Vicky, Kelly, Nancy, hell, even Robin should have not been in the room. Like, I feel the same way. That's one of those things that I was talking about earlier in the stream, though, about how you have an opinion about this scene and people just take it the wrong way. Like, if you say that in a comment section or something like that, people are immediately going to be like, you're something, blah, blah, blah. And I just, like, simply, I don't know the experience, obviously, with the whole, like, Will thing and all of that. I don't know how all of that plays out. There are a lot of people saying a bunch of things about the 1980s and how it would have gone and blah, blah, blah. I don't know any of that, so I can't judge based on that level. I think what they did with that scene was pretty beautiful. I didn't like all of the people in the room. I felt like Murray being there was the weirdest thing on earth. But if I had it my way, it would have been literally just Jonathan, Will, Mike, and Joyce. I think that would have made the most sense, and that probably would have gotten me much more emotional than as jarring and weird as it felt. Anyway, I think that 8 will die. I think so too. I mean, I don't know. There are a lot of theories about Callie right now. She's going to end up being the Mind Flayer. She's some sort of witch. She's going to turn on somebody. I don't know. I was really excited to see her return. Not a lot of people like The Lost Sister. It's like the most universally hated episode throughout all of Stranger Things. I like it. My wife and I both like it. And so I was so excited to see her come back. But having her come back only to just be a villain, I think it's going to be interesting, and I hope that they can pull that off. Anyway. There's no Season 5, Episode 7 in Bossing City. Let's go! We got the Dai up in the house. Who do I think is going to die? I think 11. I think 11 is probably going to go. I've been feeling that literally since the beginning. It just feels like one of those chosen one type things where, like, it has to happen. I have a lot of theories, though. Let me tell you guys something. Like, God, that was so John Bernthal. Let me tell you something. I just feel like, or at least I'm hoping that the Duffer Brothers are going to end up doing something so crazy and have such a giant twist that it is going to completely flip everything, and the audience is going to be blown away by it. I really hope that's the case. I really do. And when it comes to Will, I feel like there's going to be something, like I could see Will dying, because stay with me here. What if Will is not Will right now? You know, what if it's been Henry since he was taken in season 5? But what if they reveal that Will has literally just been like a vessel for the mind flare this entire time? But maybe it's just Henry inside of his mind or something. I don't know how you can make that work. I'm not saying that I have all the answers for it, but I just feel like there's going to be, with this season revolving so heavily around Will, I don't think it's just for that one moment where he comes out to everybody and that's it, and then we move forward into this fight. I feel like there are more reasons for this. A lot of people are talking about the milkshake theory and all of that stuff. I don't know. I didn't see the Broadway show, and so I can't tell you what was a diner and what wasn't. I've seen some people talk about it. I have no idea, but I do think that some of these theories could be right. I really do. Aside from that, I don't think Steve's dying or anything like that. I don't think anybody's going to die, really. Like, aside from just, like, the main players. I get that criticism, but Will was ashamed of the secret. Yeah. Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. And I get where you're coming from with that. That's kind of another one of those things where it's just like, I just don't, you know, I don't understand the entire thing. And so it's hard to judge it, you know what I mean? Let's see here. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Why are they reusing Enzo's? Exactly, bro. I saw a video that came out after season 4 about the dangers of writing yourself into a corner, which as an expiring author, that tends to happen during the draft stage. Season 5 feels like that. That's really interesting. Yeah. And there's so much from the entire series. Like when you have the level of fandom that they have at this point, they're Netflix's biggest show. And so when you have that level of fandom, it comes with a lot of pressure. And I can't imagine the amount of pressure that they had going into season 5. You also have all the noise on the outside being like, oh, the kids are so old now and all this stuff. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure that they can block out, but when it comes to writing, I can't imagine that pressure. So I'm not one to really criticize, like, I don't know, the story that they chose to go with. I think I wish things would have been different, especially in Volume 2, but you can't really know the whole story until you see the whole story. So I don't know how the finale is going to turn out, and maybe we're all just wrong, you know? Hi there, James Stewart. Let's see here. I think it actually helped Will having people who didn't know him around for the secret. Yeah, and I've seen that a little bit too. I've seen people talk about that. I think it again comes back to like personal preference of what you want out of the scene and maybe what hits you as the viewer emotionally. Winona Ryder hits me, you know? And I felt like in that moment, I didn't get enough Winona Ryder. Like I want like a solid scene between those two, because that's who we've grown with this whole show. Winona Ryder's the top bill on this thing. You know what I mean? Like they still show her name at the beginning of the credits. And it just feels like she's gone. And that's you know, that comes all the way around to the criticism I still have with Eleven and Hopper. And I don't understand the underutilization of Hopper. I've seen other creators like, I think Grace Randolph, she was talking about how maybe some stuff that was going on behind the scenes prevented them from having scenes. I don't know if I quite believe that. Like, I just think that it is a writing thing, and when it comes to adding new characters and having Holly's whole thing, maybe it just didn't make sense to have a lot of scenes with them. I don't know. Let's see. I think that Max will... Are you trying to say I think that Max will have powers? I don't know about that. I don't know. I don't think that'll happen, but if you're right, that would be actually pretty freaking sick. Military soldiers number 6, 10, and 15 will definitely die in the finale. I agree. People are doubting it. You know, I've seen people say they don't think military guy number 7, extra guy, is going to die. I say you're wrong. That was a good one, dude. I will say 5 times 7 is not worse than 2 times 7. Yeah, I mean, in terms of... I don't know. in terms of where it took the show, I'm not sure. I can't judge until we get to the finale. I just don't think that the Lost Sister is nearly as jarring as people make it out to be. Yes, it takes this whole step this way, but I view it as Luke's trip to Dagobah. You know what I mean? And like the training that he goes through just to, end up leaving a little bit early, going to Cloud City and all of that stuff. I view the same thing with 11, with the Lost Sister. Like, she had to go there to learn from Kali and kind of like grow within herself. I thought it was a great moment, and so I've always liked that episode. The wormhole reveal wasn't as satisfying as I hoped it would be. I hope we get more about the abyss. That's what I'm freaking talking about, dude. That is what I'm talking about. Is like, the pacing was so strange in Volume 2 that we went from thing to thing to thing to thing, and then we had these long chunks of dialogue. It all felt so off that by the time they talked about the wormhole and we had this massive reveal about what the Upside Down was, I've been thinking about this since season 1, you know what I mean? We have this massive reveal and it cuts away super quick from Dustin revealing that, then it just doesn't really come back to it. And I don't know. It felt underwhelming. Like, people can say, yes, there were so many reveals and things that happened in Volume 2, but I don't know if it was written well enough or placed in there well enough or done in such a tasteful way that I could like really appreciate it and really take the time to be like, oh my gosh, because things were just moving so quickly and you kept moving on to things that you just didn't really care about. You know what I mean? Like, it was a little strange. I have a theory. I still think the Hydra is going to be the final boss. There are eyes in the pillars where the kids are in. I mean, I think it'd be so cool if they did something like that and then they brought up the painting, and they had like, I don't know. You just had like the initial, the core group there fighting against the Hydra or something like that. I think something like that will be very, very special. I just hope we get some special moments out of this finale. I hope that we have a solid twist from it that just blows our minds and makes us appreciate everything a lot more. Because if it ends in a very straightforward manner, where it's like, okay, Henry wasn't actually that bad the whole time, the Mind Flayer, took over his mind, and so blah, 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 I just feel like I'm not going to end up appreciating it. Or 11 has to overcome this thing, and she ends up sacrificing herself, and it is what it is. I just don't know if I'll end up appreciating it enough. You know what I mean? So, let's see here. Yeah, saw somebody spamming, and you guys got to be proud of me. I figured out how to do that. I feel like they're scared of killing off characters. Also, somebody asked, do I think Eddie's coming back? I don't. I had theories in my head before season 5 that Eddie was going to come back as some sort of like zombie dude and be like the 5-star general of Vecna, you know what I mean? Oh my god, that would have been so sick. But I don't think he's coming back. That'd just be too much to throw into the story with only 2 hours left, you know what I mean? I feel like they're scared of killing off characters. Probably trauma from the backlash after killing Eddie. Even Colonel Sullivan survived. Yeah, dude. The guy with the burnt face. He's like, yeah, so Vecna it was not fun at all. That was such a strange scene. Yeah, and was there backlash from killing Eddie? I guess maybe I wasn't a part of the internet, that side of the internet during that, because a lot of the people that I was with, like, it really elevated the stakes. I liked that a lot. I also really liked what Steve said about Eddie. By the way, I'm excited for Prime Thorn Doomsday. I know, right? It's like, do we just switch the topic on here to just freaking Avengers Doomsday stuff? Because that's been so crazy. I wish Eddie was coming back, but I wonder if the emotional impact wouldn't be as good as exactly. I don't think that the emotional impact would be there with it. I just think you'd be kind of stomping on something that was already so special. Eddie, when he turns around and he faces on the Demobats and he's like, I can do something. I'm tired of running. That whole thing, beautiful. Chef's kiss. That's what I'm saying about season 4 versus season 5. It's like, what are we doing? I need more moments like that. If you think about it, every season a beloved or important character was killed. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. And I've also seen arguments of people that are like, well, it's a kid's show, so what do you expect? And I'm like, what are you talking about? The very first scene of the show is a guy running into an elevator and getting sucked up into the air by a Demogorgon. You know what I mean? Like episode 2 or 3, I forget which one it is, but I think it's the end of episode 2, you got Barb, you know? That's terrifying. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they could have killed off somebody. Bob. When Bob gets killed, I mean, when Bob dies, like, there's something chomping on his side. You see all that blood? Like, what are we doing? Like, they can do something. The more I rewatch these episodes, I like them more. I like that. I like that a lot. And that tends to happen. Hey, unpopular opinion, Star Wars The Last Jedi. The more I watch that movie, the more I fall in love with it, dude. I hated it when it first came out. I completely hated it. And yeah, the more I mean, just a lot of these things, man. Like, and that's why I love Stranger Things so much. And that's why this is such a jarring kind of experience, an emotional experience, because I have seen every single episode so many times, like an embarrassing amount of times. Both my wife and I were obsessed with it, you know. I have long hair and I get called Eddie because I dress like him. Well, I'd say, hey, that's badass, actually. Dad Thor arc will be peak, and I appreciate India Hemsworth as love, so connection will feel so real. Not sure I quite understood that, but I do know that Dad Thor is awesome. Dustin sharing with Eddie's uncle about his death was the most amazing emotional moment for me. Yeah, that's really when I learned that Gayton, that's his name, right? Gayton. That's really when I learned, like, his acting chops, because he was a kid for so long, you know? And as these guys grow into adults, like, you see these moments where they're so mature, you know, and you realize, like, oh, wow, this is just like an adult acting now. So what do we got here, you know? And I think he's probably he's one of the best actors in the show now. I think him and Caleb, the guy who plays Lucas, as well as David Harbour and freaking Winona Ryder, I think are great. I think Noah's good too. Noah's had his moments. I just need to rewatch a lot of these. Like Noah in the end of Volume 1. Let's freaking go, dude. He was so cool. The Steve Dustin fight was really good. The fight and especially dialogue for sure. Yeah, man. When Dustin turns is like no, I can't lose you again. Come on, so good. Even season 4 is hated. Well, yeah, but the thing you have to realize, everything's going to be hated by somebody, you know, and everything's also going to be, you know, and something's always going to be loved by somebody as well. So that's the beauty of art, how subjective things are. Like Tron Ares this year, everybody hated that movie. I freaking loved that movie. I was over the moon about it when I first saw it. Like, I don't know. Everybody has their own taste. I think the reason why Volume 2 feels a little bit different is because a lot of us, super fans and people that watched it, came out of it like, that's it? And then you get online and you see a lot of the other people in the space that you respect talking about it in the same manner, and you're like, oh, okay. So it wasn't just me, you know? It wasn't just a thing to where maybe it was the sound on my TV or something like that, you know what I mean? And then you rewatch it and, I don't know. Let's see here. What did you think of Linda Hamilton's character in the military subplot? It just kind of feels like throwing her in there to be in there. I don't really like the whole Dr. K thing. I also don't really like the Dr. Brenner thing, having the diary in the upside down. Like, all of that stuff is a little bit strange. Like, do you guys remember when Dr. Brenner drew that picture of was he trying to draw a cat or something like that? And 11 was like, is that a dog? I forget exactly what animal it was, but like, he's a terrible artist. And then you have him drawing the arcane freaking matter in the diary. That made no sense to me. I was just like, what? There's this whole Dr. like Brenner thing that we're supposed to, I don't know. That was so out of the blue, and that's what I'm talking about with the 2-hour runtime of the finale. I just feel like a lot of that stuff's not going to get fleshed out. So maybe their promise of answering all the questions that we had about it are going to come true, but I don't think we're going to get the detail or the depth, nearly the depth that we're going to want. So as far as Linda Hamilton goes, like, Linda Hamilton is freaking dope. Like, I don't know, any fans of T2 out there, like, you know, she's so great, but I just don't really think it's that necessary to have her in there. And I really hope they don't make a big deal about that side of the plot in the finale, because once again, I'm going to be sitting there tapping my foot and being like, we don't have time for this. Like, I don't need to see Linda Hamilton do something crazy or Dr. K. I would have much rather had somebody else taking up that screen time, but I do love her. How would you rank the seasons? Good question. Mine is 1, 4, 5, 3, 2. Well, I don't know if I can even throw 5 in there yet because I haven't seen the whole thing. Like, where I'm sitting right now, I'm pretty underwhelmed at the moment, so I don't want to put it too low. But my, like, actual ranking would probably be bottom to top here. Last to worst to best. Probably say season 3 is worst. Season 2, second to last. Season 1, and then season 4. I love season 4 so much. I also love season 2, though. It's really hard with this show because they're all so good. Season 3 is one of my favorite seasons, too, but there's only 4 seasons. So being one of my favorites, guess what? All 4 of them are my favorites, so. I do think some negative reactions are caused by people not paying attention to the scene. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of stuff that people have said online where you're like, well, that was in the dialogue. You just needed to listen to it. Man, how is Joe Keery like so multi-talented? He has charm, good acting skill, and has great hair and good music talent. You know, not to be cocky, but I'm a musician, and so when it comes to comparing somebody like that, I'm like, I don't know, man. I can play guitar, and I can sing pretty well. I would like to, you know, when it comes to Joe Keery, like, okay, I'll write a song, you write a song, and we'll see whose is more catchy. Clearly his are more catchy because he's super famous, so. Let's see here. I have a hot take people crying over part 2 is over-exaggerating part 1, and 2 was good, part 1 was better, but still things happening in part 2. Yeah, so the volume 2 stuff is definitely overshadowing how good volume 1 was. I do think that when I think back to volume 1, it felt a little, I don't know if off is the right word, but like when I look at those first episodes, I was excited because it felt like it was going somewhere. I didn't like some of the things. Like I'm not sure I'm the biggest fan of the Mr. What's-It stuff, even though I've liked Holly's performance. I'm just not sure it's like I'm all about all of that. And so I think volume 2 was what created a lot of my criticism for volume 1. Because after volume 1, I was feeling on top of the world, like, let's do this thing. And then after volume 2, I was like, I don't know about volume 1, actually. I've heard it said that directing and dialogue is what affects acting. I just wonder if the rest of the cast got sidelined and didn't receive as much direction and had horrible lines. Yeah, that's definitely... that could definitely be the case. Dr. Brenner was a boss. Hated his character, but I love to hate him. They dropped the ball on Dr. K's character. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think the Dr. K character is just strange. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, when they first introduce her, she's just sitting there with, like, a scalpel, and she turns around, and she's like, hey, I'm angry, Linda Hamilton. And you're like, well, okay. She's pretty much exactly what I would expect Linda Hamilton to be. And when you cast an actress like that, I don't know. You always kind of hope that maybe it's going to be something I can't even imagine. You know what I mean? Maybe Linda Hamilton is going to be giving this performance that I've never seen from her. But instead, she's like throwing bows and freaking doing all this action stunt stuff. And I'm like, well, I've seen T1 and T2, man. So sorry if I skip a comment in here, guys. But I appreciate you guys doing this. In Volume 1, she says the cavalry is coming at the upside-down military base, but nothing really happens in Volume 2. Very true story. Yeah, I mean, I bet they're going to go in, they're going to do this plan, they're going to be at the Hawkins lab, and then the Hawkins lab is going to get surrounded by military, and so they're going to have this fight going on while 11 is doing something with Henry. Favorite to least. Favorite for me. Okay. 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 6. So you're saying 3 is your favorite. That's what I love. I mean, that's what I've always loved about Stranger Things. Because when season 3 came out, dude, it was the best. The monologue that Billy gives walking through the cabin towards 11, we've been building it for you. That whole monologue, I mean, I think that's the best. People say that Henry's monologue at the end of season 4 is the best monologue. I think even just that short monologue from Billy Dacker Montgomery's performance. I think Dacker Montgomery's performance throughout all of Stranger Things, I think, is the best performance in the entire show. I don't think anybody gave a better performance than he did as Billy. He's so good, dude. Let's see. It's because of the time jump, yeah. Dude, I hope Dustin and Steve survive. Me too, my friend. But I think they are. I think they're gonna. Season 3 changed the stranger tone of the series, and I resent it so much. But that's also why Season 4 made me love the show again. Very true story. I mean, yeah, it went one way and then came back another way. And I think that's why Season 5 might feel a little bit jarring. Because it's not quite the tone of Season 4. It has some sort of stuff from Season 3, but obviously it's not as bright. It just has its own tone, and they heavily talked about prior to the season that it's going to feel like Season 1 again. You know what I mean? And so I was just hoping that, I don't know, maybe the cinematography was a little grainy or something like that, but it is what it is. Can't nitpick too much. The psychological horror of Season 5 has actually been really fun to watch, for me anyway, because these kids are victims and it makes you uncomfortable. Yeah, I get that. What's my favorite season? Yeah. I mean, Season 4 is my favorite. No, 3 is Lay's favorite. 2 is my favorite. All right, so what's this one? I get why people were disappointed. The Duffer Brothers said it was going to be a dark Christmas and higher stakes, and it didn't feel that way in Volume 2. What I would say about that is, like, it's the internet, dude. It really is that damn phone. Like, people just need to put it down. I know the Duffer Brothers, a lot of this stuff was just in interviews, but there's a certain level of, like, keeping things low-key as you go into things, because people have a way of building momentum and hype and being like, oh my gosh, dude, it's going to be a dark Christmas. Oh my gosh. It's very similar to freaking James Gunn, dude. James Gunn says a lot of things, especially like with Peacemaker Season 2. James Gunn, he said some things about that finale that made me like, this is going to be the best finale of all time. I hated the Peacemaker Season 2 finale. I was so disappointed. But I think that's in part because he said so much. And I think the Duffer Brothers have done kind of the same thing for this. Let's see here. Who do I think will die in the finale? Again, I don't know. 11 for sure. Let's just say that. Let's table it at 11 for sure. Everybody else... I think everybody else is kind of safe. Like, I don't think they're going to kill off Hopper. They're not going to do that again. I don't think they're going to kill off Joyce or Jonathan and Nancy. They just had that big scene with those two. They're not going to kill off Lucas or Max. They're a team. They're definitely not going to kill off Mike. Steve, he could go at any time. I think that Steve is the best choice. Just do it. He's like the fan favorite. Everybody loves him so much. That would be the gut punch that the show needs to be like, this is serious, you know? Do it at the beginning of the episode. No, I love Dustin and Steve so much, though, so. The only death was Steve's Beamer. Very, very freaking true, dude. Like, we just haven't seen anything. Those comments about the soldiers, you know, who's going to die in the finale, soldier number 1, that kills me, man. I don't know. I'm just really curious to see how it goes, you know? I've been sitting here for the past few days talking about it a lot. I'm on TikTok as well, Jones Vibes Only, and I've talked a lot about Season 5 at length at this point because I've been feeling a different way every single day. Like, the more I think about Volume 2, the more confused I get about it. Some parts about it I really, really like. Some parts about it I don't so much. And so I think at this point, we're getting to the point where we got one more day. Let's just see how this finale goes, see how this series ends, and take it from there, you know. I don't want to say it's a Game of Thrones thing because I don't think it's nearly that level. Even though how somebody said the more I watch something, the more I like it, the more I've watched the final season of Game of Thrones, I'm just like, whatever, it is what it is, you know what I mean? It's cool, it's fine. With Stranger Things, it's just so freaking near and dear to my heart. Like, I didn't care about Jon Snow the same way that I care about freaking Dustin, you know? And so some of this stuff, it's really hard to get over, I guess, like how all of it's going and just like where it's going to end up. I just feel like it's so rushed, man, and I hope that they have some way of making the 2-hour finale feel like it's 5 hours. Let's see here. I heard they're going to have an epilogue in the final episode. Have no idea how I feel about that. But then again, maybe it'll give us a small sense of closure. I do agree with that. I think an epilogue's great. There, a lot of this stuff stems from people just saying things online, and you don't really know where it originated. I know that there was talk about an epilogue, and I think maybe that came from the Duffer Brothers, but I don't know who originally said that it was 40 minutes long. Because you see that in comment sections everywhere. Like, oh, there's a 40-minute epilogue, so if we take that math, then it's only going to be XYZ, 80 minutes of runtime for the finale. But, like, who knows that it's actually 40 minutes of epilogue, though? I could see it being long. I could see them doing a 25-minute epilogue. That would still feel really, really long and give us the closure that we need. But there's no freaking way that, like, all of this stuff is going to be wrapped up in less than an hour and a half. And then you go on to, I don't know. That sounds crazy. And I don't know where people got that, but I might be completely wrong. Maybe it's 40 minutes. Who knows? Let's see here. Oh, I think we're going to see all the people who died come back to say one last goodbye. That's sweet, dude. Even Benny from the diner, can they bring him back even though he didn't die in the Upside Down? Bro, Demogorgon have favorites. You might be talking to somebody. I'm not sure what you... Oh, I see. Bro, Demogorgon have favorites. How did Lucas kick the Demodog? I see. Yeah. Like they're super powerful in one scene, and then it comes to an elevator and he kicks it. Yeah, I think stuff like that I don't nitpick over, just because when it comes to like fictional things, like a fantasy show like this, I don't know. The lore is constantly kind of like semi-changing with how powerful things are and how they're not. Like, you look at something like season 3 and all the people like melting into Gloobity Glob and then, forming into one another. But then you like try to like take that and then put it into season 4. All of it is so confusing. When you like look at one thing and you look at another thing in another season, and especially this season, you have the Demogorgons and the military shooting them. They can survive, Rambo type bullets, and then they get kicked. Like, I can see how people can nitpick that, but that doesn't jump out to me right away when I'm watching it, because my brain, I don't operate that way. I just kind of take it at face value, and I'm like, well, I don't know. Just a good day for Lucas's right leg, I guess. Bro he's been doing squats, I guess. Let's see here. Rank my favorite seasons, least of it. I already did that, but season 3 last, 2, 1, 4. 4 is my top. Let's see here. Dark Christmas, my ass. Not gonna lie, they set themselves up with that. Also, what is that? Homer Simpson with a wig on, with Marge's wig on. That's great. Am I a Byler fan? Well, I mean, I don't know. No, I mean, I'm not a Byler fan because I've never personally thought that it made any sense, because I've invested so much time into Mike and Eleven's relationship. So I think that, and I don't know much about the theory, so I don't want to stomp on anybody's like views of it. You know what I mean? There might be a lot of like deep details and things like that I don't personally know about. It's just when it comes to Will as a character, I almost feel like it steps on him a little bit, being like he has to be with Mike, when, like, I don't know. I just feel like he's bigger than that, and especially Mike's character, how he's been in love with Eleven since the beginning. If you take away Mike from Eleven, it takes a lot away from the moment that Mike and Eleven are probably going to have in the finale. You know what I mean? The story entirely has never been strictly just about Mike and Will. It's been about everybody. It's been about the entire group. And so, I don't know, with the Byler stuff, I think it got a little bit out of control online, and I think people started like forming all these opinions that kind of turned into this reality that they really thought something was going to happen. That happens with TV shows. That happens with movies. That happened with Star Wars for me. I really thought that Rey and Kylo were going to be brother and sister. How did that turn out? They ended up making out in The Rise of Skywalker, you know? I mean, I think that there can be a validity to anything that you want if you look hard enough at it. And I think that it's fun if the Byler people had a lot of fun coming up with all these theories. At the end of the day, though, I've just never thought it was going to be the truth. I just never thought it was going to be right because, you know, not even because of Will, strictly because of Mike and 11. I just think that that kind of like discredits it. I think the epilogue should be 20 minutes. Hell yeah, dude. I feel the same exact way. I want as much action in this finale as possible, you know? Duffer Brothers and Noah said 40 minutes. That's what I read anyway. Okay, so if it's coming from their mouth, then yeah, there it is. Yeah. It's really making me mad how many people are hating on the show right now. All I've seen since Volume 2 came out is just hate. Think about the good things of Volume 2. Yeah, you know, and that's another thing of just like staying offline. Or like, unfortunately, we live in a world where your algorithm tailors itself for you and what you're watching in the moment. So if you see one negative video on your feed and you let it play for a while, your feed's going to start showing you negative things about Volume 2. So it's going to make it seem like everybody's saying it. And look, there are a zillion people saying that right now, saying that Volume 2 was not what they wanted. But there are a lot of people with valid criticisms. There are a lot of people that are being nice about it as well and being like more middle ground about it. Like Sean Chandler, for instance, a creator out there, as well as Cody Leach. Another creator out there that I watched their reviews for it, and they're just very tasteful reviews, you know. I tried to do that. I released like a 28-minute review on it, and I tried to be as tasteful as I possibly could about it because I never want to be the person that seems like I'm going with just the narrative that a bunch of people are going with, because I think a lot about these shows. I put a lot of energy into loving these shows, and so some of the rash opinions that form immediately, it does suck. And like the review bombing and stuff, that's a real thing. That's a real thing that's happening because some people didn't get their way or some people hated, or a lot of these people probably didn't even watch it. You know what I mean? People just love to hate. Negativity sells. It gets clicks, you know, and it's the unfortunate reality of the internet, but I think there's always hope. And if you loved this show, if you loved Volume 2, screw anybody else that says otherwise. You know what I mean? You do you. Like, just freaking enjoy. Go watch it a million times and have the time of your life, you know? Let's see here. The way I think about it is all they have to do is have the finale leave me wanting to watch the whole show again. Exactly. Yeah. It needs to be, what's that thing called? The snake eating the head of the snake eating the tail or whatever. It just needs to get to the end and you're like, oh, that's that feeling I got from season 1. Let's start season 1 again. And then we're good. You know, it's all good. Let's see here. The way I see it is the Demogorgons act a certain way depending on their mission. Sometimes crazy aggressive and others more passive. See, exactly. Who said that? Seosin Come Close. Good band, by the way. The way that you're looking at that, I think, is a solid way to look at it. It's a solid way to view it because, I don't know, sometimes the Demogorgons might behave one way, sometimes they don't. It's a fictional show. It's fantasy. You know what I mean? It's you don't need to look into it that much. Yeah. So I read the from Farheen Kazmi 8329. See, I'd say episode 5 started with peak, and then starting episode 6 was done so good, and then they just focus on exposition, and that's kind of what I was talking about with how. I mean, really, episode 6, it felt like they were just jumping from one thing to the next really quickly, and then they slowed way down with the Jonathan and Nancy stuff. Like, they slowed way down, and I don't know. I'm not, not to get like too technical about it, but maybe that's a pacing issue, you know? I don't know. Byler was delusion, Stonathan, more chemistry. What is that, Steve and Jonathan? Oh my god, dude. I think we're going to see a huge fight against the Mind Flayer with Vecna having an unexpected change of heart. I think that that's what's going to happen too. And I think if that does happen, I don't know. I might be a little bit let down because I feel like that's very predictable, and I'm hoping for a massive twist. Let's see here. Now that Will has powers, can the military use him for experiments, or does it not work like that? I don't think it works like that. I think his powers come strictly from the hive mind, whereas Eleven and Callie's powers are coming strictly from blood. Do you think there will be a show as big as Stranger Things ever? Absolutely. The Harry Potter series that's coming out. It's going to be the biggest show of all time, man. Oh, sorry. My wife's home. I got to let my dog out. 1 second. Yeah, you said, is there going to be a series as big as Stranger Things ever? Yeah. The Harry Potter fan base is just ginormous. I think even if there are some weird casting issues with that Harry Potter series, that people, I mean, it's still going to be massive. Mike keeps talking about the waterfall with 11. I'm thinking that might play a part in the finale. I could definitely see that. What is your big Stranger Things finale theory? This is what I hope, right? Okay, I'm going to do this in 2 parts. What I think is going to happen and what I hope is going to happen. What I think is going to happen in the finale is that it's going to be revealed that Henry has been controlled from the Mind Flayer since he was like a kid. And a lot of the evil that he did, not to excuse some of the evil that he did, but I think a lot of the evil that he did was influenced by the Mind Flayer. And so he's going to sort of have a redemption arc, but it's not going to be so strong to where it's like, oh, Henry's a good guy now, and he's out, and now it's awesome. We're going to have a spinoff. I think he's probably going to die, to be honest. And I think that in the midst of all of that and learning about all of that, Henry's going to be kind of the one taking the brunt of everything collapsing or something like that, or like destroying or killing the Mind Flayer. And within that, Eleven's going to sacrifice herself as well, and probably Callie. I think like something like that's going to happen. Maybe 11 makes it out, but everything else, I think Will's going to have a big part of it. I can't really tell. I think he's just going to be helping them, but I think he's going to make it out. And I think the rest of the gang's going to make it out, except for Mr. Clark. Mr. Clark is dead for sure. No, I'm kidding. But what I hope is going to happen actually revolves around Will. And I talked a little bit about this earlier, but there's like that milkshake theory thing going around, and that really caught my eye over the past couple days. Like the milkshake, the place that he mentioned that they rode and they get milkshakes is like a store at this point and not a diner, and something in the stage play, like only Henry would know that they used to sell milkshakes. All that stuff is super intriguing to me. And if it's discovered that this has all been like a play by Vecna the past couple episodes or ever since he took Will, like Will never really came back and he's been kind of infiltrated by the Mind Flayer or something like that. If there is a twist like that that kind of makes you look at this season a little bit differently and look at a lot of these little moments, like Will standing outside and Joyce being like, you need to get a jacket. And he's like, oh, no, I'm fine. Like we know from season 2, the Mind Flayer likes it cold. Like if they could somehow work all of that back around, I think it would be brilliant. And I think that's the type of thing that would really that would really make my jaw drop and make me love this season. If they play it straightforward, kind of like what I was talking about with the battle of the Mind Flayer, go to the Abyss, get Holly out of there, end of story, it'll be okay. You know what I mean? I think I'll be like, all right, that was fine, but I'm really hoping for some freaking gnarly twists. Let's see here. Dang, I missed a couple here. Bro, I remember when the Russo brothers fixed Thor's character and then Taika Waititi ruined, and now Russos are trying to fix his character. Thank you for the MCU talk in here. Because, yeah, I remember that too. Even though I really liked Ragnarok, I thought it was a fun movie, but Thor and Infinity War is so much better, dude. Who do you think is realistically going to die in the finale? Most to least? I don't know, man. 11 most. Least Erica. Season 2 Demodogs is more important than Demogorgons now. Yeah. But I don't know. You have to admit, at least to me, when Karen throws the thing in the dryer and it's like a piece of metal and they go over there and then they tilt their heads and there's like the little dog sound and the ears kind of flop. I audibly laughed at that moment. They got me. They got me with the Demodogs. Did you do a reaction to the latest episodes? I can't seem to find it. So, and I know I'm on YouTube right now, so I can't like say too much, but there was basically a lot of the Stranger Things reactors on YouTube. If you go and search for their reactions, some people got through it, and there are a lot of different things you can do when it comes to like copyright claims and stuff like that. But some creators got hit, and I was one of them that got hit. It was unfortunate, but I'm working through it. Like I'm protesting and stuff because there is a legal leg to like stand on when it comes to reactions, and I take them very seriously. The clips that I insert, I'm very specific about the length of the clips. I'm very specific to make the video my own. And so, yeah, reactions, it's a very interesting space. I love doing them. But Volume 1, I did them. All of them got copyright claimed and blocked, so just taken off of YouTube. And so when it came to Volume 2, I just decided not to. You know what I mean? This channel means the world to me. This channel is like my everything. And so when it comes to like jeopardizing that over just releasing a certain video, I figured I would just do a review for it, and just share my thoughts with you guys anyway, and then get back to Percy Jackson reactions because they're amazing. Percy Jackson's amazing. I mean, I'm not. Let's see here. Do you think that Henry is misunderstood? It's a good question. Yeah, I mean, kind of. But it's one of those things where you can't have a redemption arc like that for a character be too much. Because, like, I don't know. We saw him lift Chrissy off the ground, like, snap all of her limbs and pop her eyes into her head. Like, I don't know. There's only so much redemption. Oh, blame it on the mind flare. That's what they always say, huh? Predicting that Steve's last words to Dusty Bun will be, "You live, I live," before he pulls his final Harrington. Maybe he's wearing a grenade or something like that, you know what I mean? And he's like, ching, and then jumps into, something like super heroic, music gets crazy. I could see that. Classic Dusty Bun and Steve. I don't think Vecna will, but Henry might resurface in his consciousness long enough to stop the mind flare. Yeah, I can see that. Absolutely. I don't think Steve's going to die. It's too predictable, and they've been hinting at it, and Duffers are doing it to get us to think it is, but Steve, yeah, I don't think Steve's going to die at this point either. I mean, if he was going to die, he'd have died in season 3 or something, man. He's been around. People love Joe Keery. People love Steve, so. Welcome to Derry versus Stranger Things. At this point, it's Welcome to Derry, which I never thought I would say that, but I freaking love me some Pennywise. And that show was so freaking peak, dude. Such a good show. Do you guys think that they'll surprise you with another season? Unfortunately not. I think that they're going to do a spin-off for sure. They're going to try to capitalize on the Stranger Things brand as much as possible from here on out now that the show's ending. I do like that they added Mr. Clark to the team because this is a nice throwback to previous seasons where a newbie gets to discover the supernatural realm with fresh eyes, and it's so fun to watch. I like it. My only hesitation with it is that it's just so short-lived that, like, I want to see, now that we threw Mr. Clark into the mix, I want to see all of that, I want to see all of his reactions. And same with even Vicky. Okay, you're throwing Vicky in there. I don't even know this girl, but now she's in there. But, like, Eleven's doing something with her powers, and you can kind of see on Vicky's face, she's like, but let's, if we're going to throw these people in there, I want to see what in the hell they're thinking, because it is incredible what Eleven's doing, the upside down. I think Mr. Clark went into the upside down, right? Like, I want to know what he thought about it. Bruh, Mr. Clark dropping the Elvish word for friend. Merlo. Yeah, man. That was so good. They should do something like Loki Season 2 ending. I would absolutely love that, dude. Sorry you got hit by the YouTube hammer, man. I was looking forward to watching your reaction. Hope it manages to get the green light. Thanks for the answer. Yeah, absolutely. I've been through it before. So I did reactions for Attack on Titan, or at least I started doing reactions, and I got hit hard by copyright. by just Japan. I think the copyright thing just said from Japan. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I must have done something terrible that I just really made an entire country mad. It's like, geez. But yeah, it is what it is, dude. Like you get through it, you live and you learn with all this copyright stuff. I'm thankful that I've gotten one in the past and I've looked into it, and it's only made my content better because I'm much more intentional about the way I do things now rather than kind of being all over the place. Becoming a creator, if anybody out there is ever going to get into YouTube or become a YouTuber, like the best advice I could ever give to somebody is just to stay as steady as you possibly can and just keep freaking making videos. And in the beginning is the last thing that you ever want to hear from somebody is like, just keep going, just keep going. But I've made over 600 videos at this point. I've had so many freaking duds. I've had, and who's to say that my next video won't be a complete dud? You never know. I mean, the YouTube algorithm's crazy. But the support that people have been showing me lately, I don't know. It's hard to even put into words how much it means to me with how hard I work on this channel. And so copyright stuff is what it is. I understand that if I'm in the reaction space, it's going to happen, That's just what's going to happen, and I'm going to deal with it. I'll be all right. I really appreciate you sticking around, though, and saying that. Harry Potter show will stream on Netflix. I know, dude. That's so crazy. It will, though. It will. It's so wild. Did you see the theory of how in real life D&D Callie is a demon that comes from the abyss? I did see that theory, where she's like a witch or something like that. We're going to see. I could definitely see a Callie turn, for sure. That makes sense. I'm actually worried Callie is going to be a huge detriment to their plan. I think she definitely could be. I hope she's not a detriment to the show. You know what I mean? If she's a hindrance to their plan in the end, I think that'll kind of make sense, and she'll be like a thorn in their side. But if she takes away from the show, that's what I'm worried about. And I think so many people don't like that character to begin with that it's going to be strange. Is it me or Erica, or is Erica just always up to that? Wait, what? Sorry, is it me or is Erica just always up that roof? Like, girl, do something. Oh, always up on the roof. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I know. I just don't know if they know what to do with her character. Season 3 was the best utilization for Erica ever since, and the beginning of Season 4 when she plays D&D with them. But I just don't know if they really know what to do with her character. I found showing her in class, it's kind of like a plot device to show the wormhole on the board with Mr. Clark. So like I can get how they got there, but showing her in class was so jarring. Like that's one of those scenes that I wish they wouldn't put in the show because it furthers people's complaints about like, oh, the kids are so old now. Because we just hear that nonstop and it's like, I don't know. I'm fine with Erica sitting there in class, but if she's pretending to be a whatever, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, and she looks like she's 19, it's just little weird sitting at a desk. Let's see here. Where is Percy Jackson streaming? Percy Jackson and the Olympians is streaming on Disney Plus right now. Go watch it, dude. It's so good. Never did I expect Percy Jackson to be as good as it is, but I freaking love it. Do you like how Attack on Titan ended? Dude, after all the copyright stuff, I didn't even keep going. And I need to. I was just so excited about doing... Hello. I was so excited about doing reactions for it that as soon as the copyright thing came through, I just kind of was so heartbroken about it that I haven't picked it up since, but I'll probably watch Attack on Titan at some point. What if it was a dream by Will or maybe a D&D campaign by the kids? Yeah, I mean, I could see them doing something like that. I don't know if that's I think anything at this point is going to upset the fandom, but, we'll see. Which character are you most like? Let's go, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Great question. I don't really know. I don't want to be like stereotypical with just saying Steve, because everybody wants to be Steve. But the part of Steve that I think I'm most like is the dumb side, like the stereotypical dude who says bro and you know what I mean? Like that guy, I'm more like Steve. I feel like in that aspect, I'm definitely not Dustin. That's for sure. Not as smart as that kid. Definitely not, Potentially Lucas, because I love basketball, and Lucas is always there and he has enough to contribute, but he's not like, he has his moments, but he's not like the main character. But like, I'm definitely not as smart as Dustin or freaking Mike. That's for sure. I'm Ted. I'll be Ted. Dude, if it's a dream, I'll be so disappointed. I've heard that theory's totally lame. Yeah, I know. I think that so many people would be so. Um, you just saying Hopper. Hopper, I know. I'm mad at how they've treated Hopper. I love it. Stranger Things had a 450 to 500 million, but the hate they're getting is crazy. I know. Can't control it. You just can't control it. You spend all this money on stuff and people, and that's the hard part about film criticism and TV criticism is like wanting to respect the fact that people worked really hard on things and respect the hard work that people put on it, but you also can't take that too much into account to have it overly affect your point of view as well. Like, I'm looking for a comparison. Like Gladiator 2, for instance. I know a lot of people worked really hard in that movie. I hated that movie. I thought it was terrible. I really did. And I'll be honest about it all day, every day, Nothing against the people that worked hard on it. I didn't like it, you know what I mean? And so I think there's just a fine line to walk, but never like going so far to like be making fun of people, And people do that a lot with Stranger Things. Like, and it's easy to laugh at and look at it, and it's on your timeline or whatever, and you're like, haha, and kind of be a part of it or engage in it because it's just there and so many people do it. But I don't like the normalizing of like picking on people or picking on cast members. That's where with like live action Avatar: The Last Airbender, I freaking hate the way that those cast members get treated, bro. Because like, some of them are over 18 now and they're adults and it's like, okay, yeah, they're out in the world. But like when you're like making fun of a child actor, it's like, what are you doing? Like a 37-year-old dude on freaking Twitter being like, the actress that plays Toph sucks. It's like, bro, what are you doing with your life? Let's see here. Susie, LOL. Are you saying that I'm Susie? The never-ending story. Let's see here. I feel like we don't know enough about Callie to make an informed opinion on her motive. As soon as I saw her recent reveal, I got instant bad vibes, though. It's either poor writing or big intentions. I know. We're going to see. We're going to see with her character. I think people would love it. People would freaking love it if she ends up being bad. But I just don't know. I don't know. All right, guys. I have a few more questions, and then I need to eat something. But this has just been beautiful. Thank you so much for freaking getting on here and asking me questions. This is my first live stream ever. And you know what's running through my mind. You know what I mean? Like when it comes to doing something like this, you get on and the first thing that goes through your mind is, what if nobody shows up? What if nobody's asking a question? What if I'm just talking to myself? So thank you guys so much for asking questions. This has been a lot of fun. I'm just going to go through a few more of these, and then I'm going to be calling it. People were dropping names because they were asking if those are the... Okay, yeah. So that's why you were saying Susie. Yeah. Oh, and Joe was saying Hopper. Yeah, okay. Yeah, got it. I'm pretty sure every main character survives. I think you're absolutely right on that. I love Stranger Things. Who is your favorite characters in order? Mine is Elle, Mike, Lucas, Dustin, Max, and Erica. What about you? My favorite character is Hopper. I'm going to leave some out, I'm sure. But my favorite character is Hopper, for sure. Then it would be Dustin. Then it would be Steve. Then it would be Max. Then it would be... I mean, it's so hard to even go. Eddie, like, are we going there? Then it would probably be Mike, because I love Mike a lot. And then it would be Lucas. And then I feel like 11 is just going to be at the end, and she's like the most important character. It's like 11 and Nancy at the end. I love Nancy, but hell, I'd put Karen ahead of Nancy and 11, man. I'd put Ted ahead of them. Like, I don't know. Yeah, something like that. I probably left a bunch of people out too, but favorite character, it's got to be Hopper. I love Hopper. Let's see here. Would the Stranger Kids Stranger Things kids survive against Pennywise. Not a shot, dude. Duck and cover, kiddos. You're screwed. Chat, don't forget to do the thing with the thumb. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, hit the like button. I appreciate that a lot. Finn correctly guessed the spinoff. Yeah, I've seen that. I'm an artistic, and I can tell when something is up with them. And I got a stranger feeling about Callie. Yeah, I get that. Hopper and Steve, 1A, 1N. I like that. Okay. A couple more here. I have that feeling with Callie, but I felt at the same time with a million other characters who we were supposed to be suspicious of, and they actually ended up helping. Yeah, exactly. You just can't trust anything, and that's kind of where I'm taking all these opinions right now as well. It's like you can't know anything until you watch the finale. And so we have 24 hours, and we're just going to see where it all ends. You know what I mean? See what happens. Mike has been a hated character since season 3. What are your thoughts? I don't know. The hate for Mike is way over. Yeah, if people don't like Mike, come on. Get out of here, dude. Mike's the best. Like, he's freaking... like, when he screams up the... Like, even season 1, his mom, like, Mike, it's time to go. And he's like, come on! Like, I love Mike, dude. They ruined Hopper in season 3. He was awesome in the other ones. Steve is my favorite. He's my favorite arc. Yeah, that comes back to what somebody was saying about rewatching the show so many times. Season 3 Hopper is kind of like... It might be messy, but it's kind of iconic, too. Like, when he goes into the mayor's office... puts his finger in the cigar cutting thing. You know what I mean? All that stuff is so good. All right, guys. Yeah, I've seen that. Okay. Please give me a shout out, bro, please. Absolutely. RJ.adventures100 _RSA. You're the freaking best. I freaking love all you guys, man. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Seosin, come close. Said, great to see you. Pop on to say hello. Take care, man. Take care to you guys too. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We're gonna see what happens with the Stranger Things season 5 finale. I'm very excited to see what happens, and really, I'll see you on the other side. I'll be posting my review after it. Probably sometime. It might be a little later in the week because I have Percy Jackson and some stuff and some holiday stuff. But I'll definitely put up my my review on the channel soon. So keep an eye out for that. Be sure to subscribe, tell your friends about Jones Vibes, and again, thank you so much for watching tonight. Take care, everybody. We'll see you.